Hello, dear listener. Welcome to Calm Cloud Chronicles, where imagination drifts and stories unfold. Sit back, relax, and let the journey begin. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more soothing tales. The Luminal Grove. Deep within the ancient forests of Valsera, there lay a hidden sanctuary untouched by time. Known only in whispers as the Luminal Grove, it was said to be home to the Mistralith, a mythical creature born of starlight and shadow. Its body shimmered like moonlit waters, ever shifting between solid and ethereal. Her sapphire eyes held the wisdom of countless millennia, and her voice was a song of the cosmos, a melody said to soothe even the most tormented souls. The legend told that the Mistralith was not a mere guardian of the grove but the embodiment of the delicate balance between creation and destruction. Travelers who stumbled upon the grove claimed that the creature could glimpse into their innermost being, unraveling their truths with a single gaze. One fateful evening, as the twin moons of Valsera aligned in an event called the Ecliptic Veil, a young wanderer named Kaelor entered the forest. Banished from his village for reasons cloaked in secrecy, Kaelor carried a burden of shame and longing. The air grew colder as he ventured deeper, and the soft glow of bioluminescent ferns guided his steps. He had heard the tales of the Mistralith but dismissed them as mere folklore. Yet, tonight, the grove seemed to call his name, as if fate itself had entwined their paths. When Kaelor finally stood before the Luminal Grove, he was awestruck. The Mistralith emerged, its form both breathtaking and surreal. Kaelor expected fear, but what he felt was an overwhelming sense of calm, as though the creature's presence was untangling the threads of his fragmented soul. "You seek answers," the Mistralith spoke, her voice echoing like a symphony among the stars. "But to know your truth, you must face the shadow within." As Kaelor stood at the edge of the Luminal Grove, the being before him began to coalesce. Her form shimmered like liquid moonlight, sculpted into graceful, flowing lines that seemed to defy the constraints of matter. Her 6 sapphire eyes gleamed with the intensity of galaxies, and cascading trails of starlight wove through her silhouette, giving her the appearance of an ethereal goddess. The Mistralith, now distinctly feminine in shape, radiated a presence both nurturing and commanding. Her celestial voice filled the air, a harmony of countless melodies layered in perfect unity. Kaelor found himself entranced, as though the boundaries of his reality had dissolved in her presence. "You seek truth," she said, her voice weaving through his mind like a gentle tide. "But truth is never given, it is earned. Tell me, wanderer, what shadow burdens your soul?" Kaelor hesitated, his shame rising like a tide, yet he found himself unable to conceal it from her gaze. "I failed my people," he admitted, his voice trembling. "I chose my own survival over theirs. I am unworthy of redemption." The Mistralith tilted her head, her 6 eyes narrowing as though peering into the very threads of his existence. "Survival is no crime," she replied, her tone both sharp and tender. "But to carry the weight of guilt without seeking to mend what was broken, that is where the shadow grows." Her form began to shift, her luminous trails flowing like rivers of stardust as she extended an arm-like appendage. From her hand, a shard of pure light formed, hovering between them. "This shard," she said, "holds the essence of balance. Take it, and it will guide you to the truths you seek. But beware, Kaelor, it will also illuminate the shadow within. Will you accept this path?" Kaelor stared at the shard, its brilliance nearly blinding, yet he felt its pull on his very soul. To take it was to confront his greatest fears, but to refuse was to remain adrift in his torment. With trembling hands, he reached out. As his fingers brushed the shard, a surge of energy coursed through him. Memories, both beautiful and painful, flooded his mind. The Mistralith's gaze never wavered, her celestial voice now a soft whisper, "Your journey begins anew, Kaelor. The balance must be restored, within you and beyond." The keeper of dualities. The Mistralith embodies the coexistence of opposing forces, creation and destruction, light and shadow, chaos and harmony. Her presence in the Luminal Grove is a focal point of cosmic energy, where these forces converge and are woven into the fabric of existence. Through her, the balance of these dualities is not a static state but a dynamic process. She guides individuals and worlds alike to embrace their shadows and their light, recognizing that both are essential for growth and transformation. She guides individuals and worlds alike to embrace their shadows and their light, recognizing that both are essential for growth and transformation. The weaver of cosmic threads. The Mistralith's sapphire eyes, said to contain fragments of the cosmos itself, allow her to perceive the intricate threads connecting all beings and phenomena. When she interacts with mortals like Kaelor, she doesn't act as a mere oracle. She interlaces their stories into the greater tapestry of existence. Her touch can strengthen frayed connections, mend broken threads, or, when necessary, unravel the strands that threaten the harmony of the whole. The Sentinel of the Grove. The Luminal Grove is more than a sanctuary. It is the heart of cosmic balance, a nexus where reality folds into itself. The grove pulses with energies that resonate across time and space, and the Mistralith is its sentinel. She ensures that the grove remains untouched by forces that seek to disrupt its equilibrium. Her very presence is a deterrent, her power extending beyond mere physical defense into the realm of spiritual and metaphysical protection. The catalyst for transformation. For mortals who encounter her, the Mistralith is a catalyst for profound change. Through her shard of balance, she empowers individuals to confront their deepest fears and desires, and to embrace the complexity within themselves. This transformation is not a gift, it is a challenge. She offers guidance but does not control outcomes, trusting that those who seek her aid will find their own path to balance. The Cosmic Mediator. On rare occasions, the Mistralith intervenes in conflicts that threaten the harmony of the cosmos. As a mediator, she does not choose sides but strives to reconcile opposing forces, ensuring that neither dominates at the expense of the other. Her wisdom and neutrality make her a revered figure among celestial beings, who often consult her in times of cosmic unrest. The Mistralith, with her celestial grace and wisdom, serves as a bridge between realms, reminding all beings of their interconnectedness and their shared responsibility to preserve the delicate balance of existence. As Kaelor gripped the shard of balance, his perception of reality shifted. The world around him dissolved into a kaleidoscope of light and shadow, revealing an intricate web of energy threads, each pulsating, weaving together individuals, realms, and cosmic forces. He realized he was no longer just in the luminal grove. He was standing within the very fabric of existence itself. The Mistralith, luminous and radiant in her feminine form, stepped forward. Her trails of stardust twined gently through the threads, adjusting their patterns with deliberate grace. "This web connects all things," she explained, her voice resonating like galaxies echoing through eternity. "Every choice, every thought ripples across this tapestry. You, Kaelor, are a strand unraveling, but not beyond repair. Your path forward will test your willingness to mend and to weave anew." Kaelor felt overwhelmed as visions of his past flooded into focus, his village engulfed in chaos, his desperate flight to safety, the faces of those he had failed. Yet, the Mistralith's sapphire gaze anchored him. "You see your shadow now," she said. "But balance is not achieved by dwelling in darkness alone. Step forward, Kaelor. Your first trial awaits." He stepped through the tapestry and emerged into a realm that defied logic, a shifting landscape where mountains floated, stars burned within arm's reach, and rivers of golden light carved paths into the horizon. "This is the nexus of opposites," the Mistralith explained, walking beside him. "Here, the forces of light and shadow are in constant struggle. To restore your strand, you must reconcile these forces within yourself." The trial began. Kaelor was confronted by manifestations of his deepest fears, a towering creature of shadow, its form twisted by guilt and self-loathing, and a radiant being of light whose blinding intensity masked a suffocating arrogance. Both creatures demanded his allegiance, each claiming to offer salvation. "You must reject neither," the Mistralith guided. "To deny one is to unbalance the other. Embrace their essence, and let their truths shape you." Kaelor hesitated but found the courage to approach the shadow first. It snarled and lashed out, enveloping him in cold despair. Yet, within its embrace, he discovered resilience born from hardship. Then, he turned to the being of light, whose brilliance pierced through his doubts and filled him with clarity, but also humbled him with the realization of his own fragility. He stood between the two forces, his heart open to their lessons, until the creatures dissolved into streams of energy that flowed back into the cosmic web. "You have begun to mend your strand," the Mistralith said, her tone imbued with pride and encouragement. "But your journey is far from over. The choices ahead will demand sacrifice, not just of yourself, but for others. Are you prepared for what lies beyond?" Kaelor nodded, the shard of balance glowing brighter in his hand. His transformation had begun, but the threads of his destiny were still tangled. Guided by the Mistralith, he would face new realms, confront deeper shadows, and uncover truths that could shape the fate of the cosmos itself. The shard of balance pulsed in Kaelor's grasp as the Mistralith guided him onward. The nexus of opposites faded, and Kaelor found himself standing at the edge of another realm, a vast expanse of glimmering constellations and swirling nebulae. The stars seemed alive, whispering faintly, as though they carried the echoes of countless stories. "This is the plane of echoes," the Mistralith explained, her ethereal form glowing against the cosmic backdrop. "Here, the voices of those you have touched, both in triumph and in regret, reside. To restore balance, you must learn to listen, even when it hurts." Kaelor's breath caught as the first voice emerged, a child's laughter, sweet and innocent, carried on the starlit breeze. He recognized it at once, Aria, the little girl from his village, her eyes wide with admiration as she once followed him on his patrols. The laughter turned to sorrowful cries, and Kaelor's chest tightened as he heard her call out for him on the night he fled. I didn't mean to leave them," he stammered, clutching the shard tightly. The Mistralith watched in silence, her 6 eyes reflecting the constellations around them. The cries faded, replaced by a voice filled with venomous anger. It was his elder brother, Roan, a man Kaelor had always sought to emulate. "You left us to die," the voice thundered. "Your pride doomed us all." Kaelor fell to his knees as the voices multiplied, each accusing or mourning, weaving a symphony of grief around him. Yet within the cacophony, one voice rose distinct, a calming tone, familiar yet unexpected. It was his own voice, but not as he was now. It was steady, resolute, and filled with a clarity he didn't recognize in himself. Redemption, his own echo said, is not about erasing the past but forging a future worthy of it. The Mistralith stepped forward, her celestial trails weaving through the swirling echoes, calming them. "You begin to understand," she said softly. The threads of the past cannot be undone, but they can be rewoven. Redemption is neither granted nor taken. It is earned through intention and action. As the plane of echoes began to dissolve, Kaelor rose to his feet, the shard of balance now a part of him, embedded in his very being. He turned to the Mistralith, his gaze steady despite the weight of emotion. "I'm ready," he said. "Show me the next step." The Mistralith inclined her head, the stars behind her forming a path of radiant light. "Then walk, Kaelor. The strands of your destiny stretch far, but you must weave them with your own hands. The balance you seek is not for you alone. It is for the worlds that depend on you." With each step along the celestial path, Kaelor felt a shift within him. The echoes of his past no longer haunted him. Instead, they became his guide. And somewhere beyond the horizon, in a realm yet unseen, the next trial awaited. Kaelor's celestial path led him to the threshold of fractured realms, a convergence point where dimensions overlapped, their boundaries blurred. Here, the balance between worlds was most precarious, and Kaelor would face the consequences of actions not yet taken. The air shimmered with potential, and the Mistralith's presence grew more luminous as they approached. "This is where destinies collide," she explained, her voice resonating with cosmic wisdom. "Mortals and immortals alike have shaped this place, each act rippling outward to affect countless others. You must decide how your own ripple will flow." Before Kaelor, three-dimensional gates materialized, each pulsating with distinct energies. The Gate of Preservation. Through this portal lay a realm untouched by change, where stability reigned supreme but growth was stifled. To protect this realm meant ensuring security but sacrificing innovation. The Gate of Transformation. Beyond this gateway, chaos churned with unbridled force. This realm held the promise of renewal and progress, but at the cost of upheaval and loss. The Gate of Interconnection. This path led to a realm where balance was tenuous, reliant on the delicate harmony between light and shadow, order and disorder. The risks were great, but the rewards extended beyond measure. Kaelor turned to the Mistralith, his brow furrowed. "How am I to choose?" "You are the weaver now," she replied, her sapphire eyes glowing with intensity. "Each gate leads to a trial that reflects your inner balance. The choice is yours, but remember, no path is without sacrifice, and each carries consequences for the cosmic web." After a moment of reflection, Kaelor stepped toward the Gate of Interconnection. "I cannot create balance by avoiding it," he said, his voice steady. "I must face the fragility of harmony itself." The Mistralith watched with silent approval as Kaelor entered the gateway. On the other side, he found himself in a realm suspended between extremes. Blinding light clashed with suffocating darkness, and towering spires of crystalline order crumbled into chaos. At the center of this volatile realm stood a massive, ancient loom, its threads shimmering with cosmic energy. It was broken, its mechanisms grinding in protest. "The loom binds the dimensions," the Mistralith explained, appearing beside Kaelor. "But when imbalance reigns, the threads unravel. You must repair it, but beware, the loom reflects your inner balance. Each choice you make will affect its integrity." Kaelor approached the loom cautiously, his mind racing. Every thread he touched reacted to his emotions. Fear made them brittle, anger caused them to fray, and hope strengthened them. He realized the truth. To restore the loom, he had to reconcile the forces within himself. As Kaelor worked, visions of his past trials emerged. The shadow he had embraced, the light he had humbled, the echoes he had listened to. He poured their lessons into the threads, weaving patterns of resilience and humility, sacrifice and growth. With each thread restored, the realm around him began to stabilize, its extremes softening into harmony. Finally, the loom stood repaired, its mechanisms humming with cosmic energy. The Mistralith smiled, a rare expression of pride and warmth. "You have taken your first steps as a true weaver," she said. "But the balance you seek is ever-changing. Your journey has only begun." Kaelor looked out over the realm, now glowing with equilibrium. He felt both exhausted and empowered, knowing that his choices carried the weight of countless worlds. With the shard of balance embedded in his soul and the Mistralith as his guide, he stepped forward, ready to face the next ripple in the cosmic web. Kaelor stepped beyond the threshold of fractured realms, finding himself in an expanse unlike any other he had encountered, a domain known as the timeless convergence. Here, time itself was fractured, flowing in countless directions. Memories of the past, possibilities of the future, and fleeting fragments of alternate presents intertwined in an eternal dance. It was a realm where the weight of choice bore no escape. The Mistralith appeared beside him, her celestial form radiant, her sapphire eyes reflecting the infinite possibilities swirling around them. "This is the timeless convergence," she said. "It is where all decisions converge, where every ripple, every thread, carries echoes across the cosmos. Here, you will see the consequences of paths not yet chosen." Kaelor's breath hitched as he realized the enormity of what lay before him. Streams of starlight surged around him, carrying visions of what could be. One thread showed his village thriving, its people prospering in peace, while another revealed a future where ruin consumed not just his village but the surrounding lands as well. Yet another thread showed Kaelor standing as a guide to others, weaving their threads into balance. "I must choose again, mustn't I?" Kaelor asked, his voice heavy with doubt. But how can I make a choice when the future is so uncertain? You misunderstand, Kaelor, she said gently. It is not certainty that defines a weaver, it is intent. These futures are not promises, they are possibilities shaped by your actions. Your role is not to control the web but to contribute to its harmony. As she spoke, a thread began to shimmer, its light pulsing in rhythm with Kaelor's heartbeat. It drew closer, revealing a future where Kaelor stood united with a growing network of weavers, each working to maintain balance across dimensions. In this vision, Kaelor's scars remained, but they no longer defined him, they empowered him. The vision faded, and Kaelor turned to the Mistralith. If harmony is achieved through intent, then I must act with purpose. How do I begin? The Mistralith extended her hand, and from it, a spindle of cosmic light emerged. This spindle will allow you to weave more than just your own thread, Kaelor. It is a tool of profound responsibility. Through it, you will connect the frayed strands of others, weaving harmony not just for yourself but for all who are touched by your web. Kaelor accepted the spindle, its energy surging through him. As he did, the timeless convergence began to shift, the swirling fragments of time settling into new patterns. The path before him was no longer one of doubt but of purpose. You are no longer a wanderer, the Mistralith said, her voice resonating with quiet pride. You are a weaver of the cosmos. Go forth and mend what is broken. Kaelor took his first step as a cosmic weaver, the spindle glowing in his hands. The timeless convergence faded around him, and he found himself back in the Luminal grove, where the threads of existence pulsed with renewed vitality. But the journey was far from over. Across dimensions, in realms of turmoil and imbalance, his presence would soon be felt. Kaelor's journey as a cosmic weaver began to unfold in ways both challenging and inspiring. The Luminal grove, now more radiant than ever, became his anchor, a sanctuary where he could reflect and prepare for the trials ahead. Yet the cosmos was restless, its threads tugged and frayed by forces beyond his understanding. The Mistralith sensed it too, an ominous energy stirring in the distant reaches of existence. One day, as Kaelor meditated within the grove, he felt a sudden tremor in the threads of the cosmic web. The patterns that once pulsed with harmonious rhythm now shuddered with discord. The Mistralith appeared beside him, her 6 sapphire eyes glinting with urgency. A rift has formed, she said, her voice carrying the weight of an ancient warning. The balance you helped restore is under threat. Something, or someone, seeks to unravel it. Kaelor rose, the spindle of cosmic light in his grasp. What must I do? The Mistralith extended her hand, and a new shard formed, shimmering with a hue darker than the first. This shard was a fusion of light and shadow, flickering like a star on the verge of collapse. This shard will guide you to the rift of unmaking, she said. But be warned, the forces at play there are not merely chaotic. They are willful, and they may try to manipulate your own balance. Kaelor nodded, determination hardening his gaze. With a single step, he found himself transported to a desolate void, a space where stars had been extinguished, leaving only faint whispers of their former light. In the center of this void swirled the rift of unmaking, a vortex of raw energy that seemed to devour all it touched. As he approached, Kaelor felt a presence emanating from the rift, cold, calculating, and vast. A figure emerged, cloaked in flowing darkness, its form constantly shifting like smoke caught in a storm. Its eyes burned with a crimson light, and its voice was a deep resonance that reverberated through Kaelor's very being. "So, you are the Weaver," the entity said, its tone both mocking and intrigued. "The one who mends what should be left unraveled. Who are you?" Kaelor demanded, gripping his spindle tightly. "I am the Void Weaver," the figure replied, a sinister smile forming. "Where you seek balance, I thrive in disarray. The threads you repair, I unbind. Tell me, Weaver, do you truly believe you can restore harmony to a cosmos that was born from chaos?" The Void Weaver extended its own hand, revealing a spindle of shadowed threads, fraying and writhing as though alive. "We are not so different, you and I," it said. "Both of us are bound to this web, shaping it with every choice. But where you see order as the answer, I see freedom in the unraveling." Kaelor stood firm, though he felt the weight of the Void Weaver's words. The rift pulsed, and he realized that this confrontation was not just physical, it was a battle of intent, a clash of philosophies. To defeat the Void Weaver, Kaelor would need more than strength. He would need to embrace the very lessons he had learned from the Mistralith, drawing on his inner balance to counter the Void Weaver's influence. The two weavers moved to the center of the rift, their spindles glowing with opposing energies. Each strike of Kaelor's spindle wove threads of light and shadow together, while the Void Weaver's spindle sought to sever them. The cosmic web around them shuddered, its fate hanging in delicate balance. As Kaelor fought, he began to understand the Void Weaver's nature. It was not merely an agent of chaos, it was a manifestation of imbalance, born from the very fear and doubt that had once consumed him. To defeat it, he would have to confront the lingering shadows within himself, weaving even his imperfections into the web. As Kaelor confronted the Void Weaver within the rift of unmaking, He felt the tension between their opposing forces reverberate through the cosmic web. The swirling threads of light and shadow danced around them, each strike of their spindles creating ripples that extended across dimensions. Yet Kaelor realized that mere strength would not prevail here. This battle demanded understanding and integration of the forces at play. The Void Weaver's voice thundered through the void, mocking Kaelor's efforts. "You cannot defeat me, Weaver," it said, its crimson gaze piercing through the rift's chaotic energy. "I am the shadow you have yet to confront, the chaos that lies within every choice you make. Do you truly believe you can weave harmony when you carry such imbalance within yourself?" Kaelor hesitated, the Void Weaver's words echoing in his mind. He thought of his past, of the guilt and pain that had shaped him, and realized the truth. The Void Weaver was not merely an external adversary. It was a reflection of his own unacknowledged fears and doubts. If he was to defeat it, he could not deny these parts of himself. He would have to embrace them. Summoning his courage, Kaelor lowered his spindle and extended his hand toward the Void Weaver. "You are right," he said, his voice steady despite the turmoil around him. "I cannot create harmony by rejecting chaos. To weave balance, I must accept that both light and shadow are essential parts of the web." The Void Weaver recoiled, its form flickering as Kaelor's words resonated through the rift. The cosmic threads began to respond, weaving themselves into patterns of intricate balance. Kaelor stepped forward, his shard of balance glowing brightly, and placed it within the web. The rift shuddered and began to stabilize, its chaotic energies softening into harmonious flows. The Void Weaver's form began to shift, its darkness fading into a more luminous presence. It no longer spoke with malice but with a quiet resignation. "You have done what few can achieve," it said. "You have embraced the shadow without allowing it to consume you. The cosmic web is stronger because of you." As the rift closed, Kaelor felt the weight of the battle lift from his shoulders. The Void Weaver dissolved into the threads of the web, becoming part of the greater balance once more. Kaelor turned to the Mistralith, who watched with quiet pride. "You have faced the greatest trial of a weaver," she said, her voice carrying a deep warmth. "By confronting your inner imbalance, you have strengthened the web for all who depend on it. But this is only the beginning. There are countless realms in need of harmony, and your journey will take you to places yet unseen." Kaelor nodded, his resolve renewed. The spindle in his grasp pulsed with cosmic energy, a symbol of the power he had gained and the responsibility he now bore. As he stepped away from the rift of unmaking, the stars began to shine brighter, their light guiding him toward his next mission. As Kaelor journeyed onward, guided by the shard embedded in his soul and the spindle in his hands, he found himself in a realm shrouded in mystery, the abyssal verge. Here, The cosmic web dipped into depths so profound that even light seemed hesitant to venture. It was said that this place held secrets of existence that transcended mortal understanding, guarded by entities known as the Echoing Fathoms, beings of pure essence, born from the first moments of creation. The Mistralith appeared beside Kaelor, her presence a soft glow amidst the surrounding darkness. "The abyssal verge is where truths lie buried," she said, her sapphire eyes glinting with solemnity. "But not all truths are kind, nor are they simple. The fathoms are keepers of these truths, and they will not yield them easily. If you seek to strengthen the web, you must confront what lies beneath." Kaelor nodded, his resolve unwavering. The echoes of his past trials reverberated within him, providing the courage to step forward into the unknown. As they delved deeper into the verge, the environment began to shift. Shadows danced in intricate patterns, forming figures and scenes that seemed both familiar and foreign. Kaelor realized they were fragments of forgotten moments, pieces of the cosmic web that had been severed and cast into oblivion. The first of the Echoing Fathoms emerged, its form resembling a whirlpool of translucent energy. Its voice resonated like 1,000 whispers merging into one. "Why do you seek to mend what is broken?" it asked, its tone neutral yet probing. "I seek balance," Kaelor replied. "The web connects us all. To ignore its unraveling is to forsake that connection." The fathom shifted, its swirling essence taking on a new shape, a towering silhouette of light and shadow, reflecting Kaelor's own form. "To mend, you must accept what cannot be undone," it said. "Do you have the strength to bear that weight?" Kaelor thought of his village, of the lives he could not save, and of the Void Weaver, whose chaos he had confronted and embraced. "I have learned that the past cannot be changed," he said. "But it can guide us, if we have the will to listen." The fathom nodded, its energy folding into the surrounding threads. "Then you may pass. But remember, truth does not always bring comfort." Kaelor continued, encountering 2 more fathoms along the way. The second tested his ability to confront hope and despair as intertwined forces, while the third challenged his understanding of sacrifice, not just for himself, but for the cosmic balance. With each trial, Kaelor emerged stronger, his actions weaving new patterns into the abyssal verge. By the time he reached the heart of the realm, the verge itself began to transform. The once fractured threads now pulsed with vitality, their flow harmonized by Kaelor's efforts. The Mistralith stepped forward, her gaze reflecting pride and deep understanding. "You have not just mended the web, Kaelor, you have woven truths into its essence. The abyssal verge will no longer be a place of unraveling but a beacon of resilience." Kaelor looked out over the realm, its shadows now shimmering with a subtle, harmonious glow. He felt the weight of his journey, but also the empowerment that came with knowing his actions had strengthened the cosmic web. "Where will I go next?" he asked, his voice steady yet tinged with curiosity. The Mistralith smiled, her celestial form radiant. "The threads of the cosmos are vast, Kaelor, and their balance is ever-changing. You will go where the web calls you. But for now, you must rest. Even weavers need moments to reflect." As Kaelor stepped back into the Luminal Grove, he felt the echoes of the abyssal verge resonate within him, a reminder of the truths he had unearthed and the strength he had gained. His journey was far from over, but he was no longer the wanderer he once was. He was a weaver, and his thread was now interwoven with the fate of the cosmos itself. Kaelor rested within the tranquil sanctuary of the Luminal Grove, the threads of the cosmic web pulsing gently around him. Yet as the peaceful cadence of the grove soothed his soul, he felt a subtle stirring, a ripple in the web that signaled a new call to action. He rose, gripping the spindle that now felt like an extension of his own being, ready to embrace the unknown once more. The Mistralith appeared, her form radiant and serene, yet her eyes carried a weight that Kaelor could not ignore. "The web calls you again," she said, her voice a symphony of calm and urgency. "The rift of unity has grown unstable, a rare convergence of realms where light and shadow coexist harmoniously is now threatened by forces beyond comprehension." Kaelor nodded. "I will mend it," he said, his resolve firm. With the Mistralith as his guide, Kaelor stepped through the threads and into the rift of unity. Unlike the chaotic landscapes he had faced before, this realm was breathtakingly beautiful, a perfect equilibrium of glowing light and shimmering shadow. Rivers of radiance flowed alongside currents of dusk, and crystalline spires rose intertwined with obsidian peaks. Yet this harmony was fragile. Cracks in the rift's foundation revealed an ominous void creeping closer. As Kaelor ventured further into the rift, he encountered the harbingers of division, celestial beings whose fractured essence reflected the turmoil within the rift of unity. The harbingers were neither hostile nor welcoming. They were lost, their forms flickering erratically as they struggled to contain the imbalance consuming them. The first harbinger approached Kaelor, its voice fragmented yet pleading. "We are the guardians of harmony," it said. "But the weight of the rift's discord has shattered us. Can you restore what we have lost?" Kaelor extended his hand, allowing the shard of balance within him to resonate with the harbinger's essence. The celestial being glowed faintly as Kaelor began to weave threads of connection between its broken fragments. "Harmony is not perfection," Kaelor said. "It is the strength to embrace imperfection and grow from it." As the harbinger stabilized, it joined Kaelor in his journey, guiding him to the heart of the rift of unity. There, the source of the imbalance revealed itself, a massive, pulsating void that seemed alive, its tendrils grasping at the threads of the cosmic web. The presence radiated an overwhelming sense of longing, as if it sought to consume the very harmony it disrupted. The void of yearning, the Mistralith whispered, her tone heavy with reverence. It is not merely destructive, it desires what it cannot attain. Balance lies in understanding its hunger and addressing it. Kaelor stepped forward, his spindle glowing brightly. He reached out to the void, not with fear but with compassion. You are not the enemy, he said. You are part of the web, and your yearning is a thread that must find its place. The void of yearning surged, its tendrils recoiling as Kaelor's words echoed through the rift. It began to transform, its chaotic energy softening into patterns of longing that intertwined with the web's threads. Kaelor worked tirelessly, weaving connections that allowed the void's essence to integrate into the harmony of the rift of unity. As the rift stabilized, the harbingers of division regained their strength, their forms solidifying into radiant beings that symbolized the unity of light and shadow. The rift of unity began to glow with renewed vitality, its beauty restored and its balance preserved. The Mistralith approached Kaelor, her expression one of quiet pride. You have done more than mend the rift. You have shown that even the forces of discord can find their place within harmony. Your weaving has strengthened the web in ways few could achieve. Kaelor looked out over the rift of unity, the shard of balance within him pulsing steadily. He felt the weight of his journey, but also the empowerment that came with knowing his actions resonated across the cosmos. The web will call again, the Mistralith said, her tone filled with both encouragement and warning. And when it does, you must be ready. Kaelor nodded, his gaze steady as he stepped back into the Luminal Grove. He knew his role as a cosmic weaver was far from complete, but he also understood that every ripple he created brought the cosmos closer to balance. Kaelor stood within the Luminal Grove, his cosmic spindle glowing faintly at his side. He had mended fractures, woven balance into chaotic realms, and even faced the darkness within himself. Yet, as he gazed into the shimmering threads of the cosmic web, he sensed that his journey was building toward a singular purpose, one final act that would forever alter the fate of the cosmos. The Mistralith appeared, her form more luminous than ever, her celestial presence filling the grove with an almost sacred energy. The web has chosen you for its most delicate task, she said, her voice imbued with both pride and sorrow. The anchor of eternity is failing. Its threads hold together the foundations of existence itself, and without it, the cosmic web will unravel. Kaelor's heart weighed heavy, but he steadied his breath. What must I do? The anchor must be reforged, the Mistralith replied. To do so will require the light of creation and the shadow of oblivion, both bound within you. But the cost will be great. As the weaver closest to the web's essence, the threads of your own soul will be required to restore the anchor. Her words carried a profound gravity, and Kaelor understood. This was not just a test of his skills or his resolve, it was a test of his very existence. If I do not act, he said, his voice steady, the web will perish, and with it, all that weaves through it. My life is but one thread. I will give it willingly. The Mistralith stepped closer, her sapphire eyes gleaming with emotion. You honor the web with your choice, Kaelor. Few would embrace such a sacrifice. Let us begin. Together, they journeyed to the heart of the cosmic web, a place that defied description. Here, the threads of all realms, lives, and dimensions converged into a radiant core, the anchor of eternity. Its once brilliant light now flickered, and fractures spread across its crystalline structure. Kaelor raised his spindle, its light growing brighter as it resonated with the anchor. The Mistralith stood beside him, her presence a source of strength. Focus on the web, she said. Feel its flow, its rhythm. Let it guide you. Kaelor closed his eyes, and his essence expanded. He became one with the threads, sensing every ripple, every connection. He felt the joy and pain, the creation and destruction that defined existence. With a deep breath, he began to weave. The light and shadow within him intertwined, forming a thread unlike any other, a thread of pure balance. It pulsed with life, resonating with the web's deepest harmonies. Kaelor directed the thread into the anchor, weaving it through the fractures. With each stitch, the anchor grew stronger, its light steadying, its cracks fading. Yet Kaelor felt his strength waning. The thread he wove drew not just from his shard of balance, but from his very soul. He wavered, his form beginning to fade, but he pressed on, his purpose unshaken. The final stitch was made, and the anchor of eternity blazed with a brilliance that illuminated the cosmos. The web thrummed with renewed vitality, its threads pulsing in perfect harmony. The realms were saved, their connections restored. Kaelor fell to his knees, his spindle slipping from his grasp. His form shimmered, becoming one with the light of the web. The Mistralith knelt beside him, her expression a blend of sorrow and reverence. Your thread will endure, Kaelor, she said, her voice a soft hymn. You are not lost, you are woven into the heart of the cosmos. As his light faded, Kaelor felt no fear, only peace. He had fulfilled his purpose, and in doing so, he had become a part of the balance he had strived to create. The Luminal grove stood silent, its beauty undiminished, but the air carried a sense of profound change. The Mistralith remained, her gaze fixed on the threads of the web. Kaelor's essence was now a part of its eternal flow, his sacrifice a beacon of hope and resilience. And so, the story of Kaelor, the cosmic weaver, came to a close. His journey ended not in loss, but in fulfillment, a reminder that even the smallest thread can shape the destiny of the cosmos. Thank you for being a part of Calm Cloud Chronicles. What kind of stories help you relax the most? Please let us know in comments below. If you enjoyed this story, let us know by liking, sharing, and subscribing. Until next time, stay peaceful and keep dreaming.